Let's record. Okay. Let's blow this up. Okay. So, I wanted to start a series. Should probably close these out for now. But, so this was a daily game on chess.com for some club. Trying to improve my daily rating, and it seems like Floorman is too, because if you go to his profile, he is a chess.com coach, member since February 11th, 2012. Yeah, online chess sessions, everything about the end game. Um, yeah, it's obviously a strong player. Rapid and Blitz are in the 2000s. Obviously working on the daily. But back to the game. It was a pretty interesting game, I would say. So I have 4 games against chess.com coaches, and just kind of wanted to show wins. At the end there was 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. Got to play 2 games against 2 chess coaches. So, and this is I wanted to start off with this game because it was the shortest. Also, probably one of the prettier games I've ever played, per se. But it started with e4 and e5. Pretty basic. I go for the King's Gambit. A more aggressive opening choice, but something I like to play. If you know me, you know I play King's Gambit. So takes knight f3. This is all pretty standard stuff. And then he plays g5, which is I don't know any technical terms for chess, but I consider it the main line. You're really saying I'm not going to lose this pawn. And a lot of times they play h6 to consolidate. But yeah, obviously I am armed against this. I play more aggressive line, h4, letting them go for g3. Hopefully it doesn't have a. Can I hide all annotations? Yeah, that is. It's still showing them in the game though, which is okay. But yeah, this move I've never seen before. Most often you'll see the push to g4, but yeah, instead you see this, and essentially the reason why it was considered a mistake is because I can take this, and now the bishop is sort of a target here in the long run, and we'll see with my next move. Yeah, it's deemed a mistake, which it is. You kind of really have to know what you're doing though against this bishop move, because what you really need to do is kind of develop quickly on the queen side and use the idea that they basically have to play this pawn push at some point with this d pawn, and if you can get your queen quickly to d3, this bishop can actually be a target on the check and diagonal with the knight. So this bishop's kind of just a target here, and you can develop very quickly on the queen side, maybe even castle queen side, and this pawn structure for black is just bad. So if you play quickly and try and develop and play naturally on the for queenside castle, you can actually get a pretty good position here as white. And even though it's really like after this move, I think Engine still gave white a good edge. But I think it just lacks that idea. This is on the king side. You don't really need to develop it yet on the deeper understanding of the position. But nonetheless, I don't think it was that bad of a move. He just develops. I played the d4 move now, but essentially the engine's saying I could have had a lot better position if I didn't waste my time moving a kingside piece. Okay, and the game continues. He finds the best move. Like I said, it's really stopping. If he plays this move now, I can just take with bishop or pawn. And if he doesn't play this move, instead was to go for like a knight f6, this move could just always be on the horizon and create a lot of issues for black, having a big strong center for white and a couple active pieces and some targets. Also, this move right away just hangs the bishop, so it's pretty much off the table. But yeah, this is trying to stop the hold that the pawn push e5 could place on the black position. Also getting ready to develop a light square bishop that could find a good home here on g4, pinning my knight. And I castle here, which is deemed a question mark, but I think it has its pros and cons. Obviously more cons. The king is long-term weak here. It has an open g file. The queen can have good access. The bishops can start controlling these diagonals. But I do have weak pawns on the f file. The bishop and the rook could get, on this square long term. The knight could take, and the bishop can get here. So there was some justification for castling. And here, the bishop does get there. It gets the inaccuracy, but I think it's a fine move. I really do. And I do play the queen d3, getting out of the pen for the most part. If takes, I could take back with pawn 2 now. It seems weird, but having the nice strong center, maybe getting a setup like that, going after this pawn eventually is completely fine. Even like, let's just say this, and they make some weird moves. I can get like a knight here and try and already start double attacking. But yeah, in the game, he played h3, cementing this bishop. I didn't really see the great purpose for this move. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it's a long-term safety for the bishop. And now, like I was saying, I could have went for something like, if he was to play this move, I could go for something like this. Now I'm hitting the queen with tempo, I'm opening up everything, so yeah, the move h6 when explained that way does make sense. I had an idea here, a cheeky one, but I decided on the move queen here. It probably would have been better to find a way to best get this knight involved. This bishop is okay being here for the most part right now. It is doing a job of x-raying through an important diagonal. But yeah, I went for the queen b3, trying to set up this attack and also looking at this. And most people will be like, okay, what about queen a5? And that was kind of the whole purpose of my move, was kind of to try and entice the queen a the knight a5 move, not queen a5. But and he did go for it. It got a blunder. I don't think it's that bad. But my point was, haha, I win the pawn. You have to move your king, and now when I go like this, I hit your knight. So if you take my bishop, I just take your knight. And I think this is completely fine for white to play. The knight and bishop are ready to get involved. I have a nice center. King side on black is still weak. I'm okay. I'm doing well. So obviously he didn't decide to go for that. When I took and went here, he played his knight back to c6. But let us do remember that my queen does pin. So what I should have done here was just retreat the bishop. I could have taken, but why let the rook develop for free? I should have moved the bishop here or here. I guess I could have even gone here, even though I don't think that was the right approach. But you know me, I'm not always doing the smart thing. Instead, I go here, trying to abuse this pin. And I think it's not that bad of an idea. It's really not. Because you go, okay, but what if they take, and take? And it's like, yeah, that is bad. That is bad. And what I had calculated was also bad, and I'm surprised he didn't go into it. The reason this is such a bad move and receives the double question mark is because of this. But what I had planned was this, 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 and what I why it king takes, my bad, not rook takes. King takes so that when I take back, he can take back like this. And this is just dangerous. These bishops are hunting, like, for example, if I play some silly move like this, here, here, this rook is ready to get trapped with a move like bishop here, and it's just not looking good. This is not where you want to be. Um, and I'm just really surprised he went and he didn't try and go into this. I think this is clearly looking better for black, even though, oh yes, that is the line I was looking at previously. Yeah, when he goes here, here, I was looking at this move, or yeah, would it be this move? But I think all roads lead to Rome in that situation. Like if you keep going down the line, it will be similar to what I just showed. Maybe without the dark square bishop, but um, black would have a lot of stuff to play for, especially with and really showing why my king didn't want to be on the king side in the long run. If we go back to that position before, the king is just forever a target. The rooks are going to come soon, and my pieces are just doing absolutely nothing over here. My queen's not really doing much on that later position, but yeah. So when I went here, obviously overlooked that, but my point was is I do hit the bishop here. You can't take the knight because the knight now does guard the bishop, and I was assuming this play that he did, which was considered a miss, but it keeps a lot of. It was a move I didn't really fully understand how much creative opportunities it had, because I was thinking, oh well, I have this. Um, I can take the knight. I can take this knight, or I can take the bishop there. You know, I have stuff to do, but now I was at first worried about this check. But then it started to become worrying about this, because here, if I take the bishop, now he takes this, my queen's hit, and it's just kind of frustrating to deal with. Here, this knight, it's not easy. It's going to take a long time to recapture that. This bishop's loose still, so I just didn't really like the prospects of my knight could be under attack, my bishop's under attack. This knight isn't going to die anytime soon, but and there's also obviously ideas of this move, which is also very dangerous. Here, even king takes. The knight could cause problems there. Even a move like this, take the bishop and push. So like this, here, takes, push. Now you're threatening to win the rook, check the king. Stuff's going on even though you're down a piece. The queen's quick to infiltrate. But none of this stuff really happened in the game. I decided to play like a coward instead of taking or taking here, which is what the engine says you have to do. It is risky. There's going to be play for both sides. But I think if I would have changed, I probably would have taken here. But all is lost. I retreated the bishop, protected this. My knight still can't be taken, but what I didn't understand was how dangerous this move was in this position, because if I go here, he does have this, the Great Kebab, and this is the best line, because if I go here, yes, the arrow shows, but here, and I have nothing to stop the queen going there. The knight, you know, has options to attack my rook. The bishops are here, and they're dangerous, and yeah, so. And you say, oh, well, if I go here, why can't he go here to do the same thing? How do I stop this? Now the bishop is undefended. The queen goes here. The knight can block. With here, in the other line, you go, oh, I'll take the bishop, but it's not where you want to be, my friend. So, and then in this line, if you were to go here, just take a quick look at this and tell me if you want to play this. Seriously. Not good. So, yeah, but Fortunately, I do have threats of my own. I'm now protecting, and I'm still attacking the bishop, and I still have this. And because of these attacking threats, my opponent made a really bad move here. He needs to realize that I have a long distance piece, a piece barely involved in the attack. If the king was here, this queen is worthless here for the attack. And a knight, one knight that's in versus he has one, two, three pieces that are actually close to my king, and a queen that's readily available if given the opportunity to. And yeah, he blocks the pin. Now he can take my knight, but he also stops this knight check on the king. And the problem with it though is it's just too defensive. I take the bishop now, and now you see the check here is just not as good because the bishop's not here, and now I can go here. In the other line, the bishop was protecting the knight and doing a good job of cutting off the king, but now a move like this would just lose a knight. Right, so I do go here. The game continues. He takes, and now he does get this push. And I was surprised. I think he had other options here. I still do threaten stuff, but even a move like queen here, I lose the knight. Oh, but you know, there's better options here than to just simplify by taking and pushing. I just thought this was not the right approach to go in the game. Yeah, I take back, obviously, and now he pushes. And here was a moment. The game is sort of simplifying here. It isn't as crazy as it was just 4 or 5 moves ago. It's simpled down a little bit. He's attacking my rook. He's getting an open file. I have to do something. And there was some moves here that were interesting. I didn't know where to put my rook. Do I put it on g1? Do I put it on f1? Do I put it on h1? Do I just take, or do I play knight here? Right, and I chose probably one of the worst ones, maybe other than just taking. Taking is obviously awful. Bishop captures for free. Knight moves. Bishop escapes. It's just a rook for free. The reason I ended up deciding on this because I was just afraid of the h-file pressure. I was afraid of like here, and just maybe getting stampeded down the h-file stuff coming in, queen coming in. I was just worried about where my king was, and I just thought maybe the rook could be well placed here. If I could escape and have the rooks connected, the rook could be well placed here. But the real problem, like if he pushes, I can't. The same thing happens. It's not really doing anything there, except for just keeping an eye on it. It could be better placed in other places, and we'll see. He takes. I take back with the king. I could move, but why? Why not just take back with the king? He doesn't have a light square bishop. The knight can't immediately attack. The queen can't immediately attack. So here I kind of was able to take a deep breath and not worry so much. I knew it was still a long game. He has a lot of pawns, and I have no development. I have nothing going for me, really. But then I came up with an idea. He attacks my knight. This is what I was really expecting for the most part. You're getting ready to connect your rooks. But here, I came up with a better way than trying to move my knight, or at least in my mind, I thought a better way. I could have moved my knight, or I could have tried to protect it with my king. There's no other options. Rook here gets taken, and bishop here just gets taken. So I decided to check with the rook, and then if he went here, whoa, I was going to go here and here, and I thought this was just an interesting game. But instead he went here, which I was surprised with because it allows me to check with my bishop. You don't want to go here because then I win the queen, so you have to move here. He has no other options because he's blockaded by his own pieces. And now my queen, Oh, sorry, I was heading. Whoa, that's annoying, but it is whatever. Yeah, it allows me to defend my knight and create the battery. And I started to really like this position, even though I did need to find a way to develop this knight, and he finds the most perfect way to not let me develop my knight. If I was to go here, first of all, it would just be taken, but if I was to go here, now this takes kablam. And yeah, so I had to find a way to better my position, but I can't move this knight. And it's just like how? And knight a3 is the same thing, the same trick works. How do I stop this? And it's like, can I move my knight back? I really want to move my knight back? Where's it gonna go? It's just gonna get in the way. Why do I want to bring my knight on the brim? Why do I want to break up the battery? All these questions, and I really found this move, and in my mind, it's just the best move. Um, it's truly just in my mind the best move in the position. Brilliant, and you move your knight to e5, and now the bishop's protected again. My knight isn't a target. His queen is hit. If he takes the knight, I get the skewer. Knight can't block. It's a beautiful move, and the queen can't go here. The queen goes here, and here I got a little bit fancy. It looks annoying, like, oh, now he can take with this or this. He's also hitting this, threatening to trap the rook. But I do have this move, knight here, and the reason it's an inaccuracy, I don't think it's that much of an inaccuracy. It's just, this move's so much better. You really stop the queen from looking. This is long-term safe here, defended by the queen and a pawn. Knight's ready to jump in. This pawn is long-term safe as long as this knight is long-term safe, which they both are, and the game would continue. But instead I go for a more weird-looking move, and my purpose for it was that I stop this, and when he goes here, which is what I was anticipating, was what he did, I can have the knights connected, hitting the queen, pawn protected, and I don't know. There's not really much of a difference if the knight was here or here, except for one reason, and that is when the queen moves. Now I can pin the pawn along to the king. Now the queen can't take the knight because the knights are connected. The queen can't take the pawn because knight protects. Pawn can't take knight because, so I just, at this moment is when I really started to feel like things were swinging in my direction. I'm building an attack. Everything's looking good. His king's still in the middle. My king somehow found safety out here in the great wide open of the king side. My pieces are working together. Rook's connected, a battery. The bishop still has future life. The knights are connected and have future life. And he played this move, and I just knew it was not good. The take, and finally I get my first brilliant of the game according to chess.com. It's just when you see it, you know it's the best move. It's rook takes the pawn. Yes, you're giving up the rook for the knight, but I got news for you, friend. This king is not safe. There's just too much potential to come in here for the white pieces. My king is just safe enough. The knight actually guards this square from being checked, and even then, the rook can come up. So there's just a lot of attacking potential, and I think you'll just see it play out. This was considered the best move by the engine, actually. So if you want to be like, oh, you got lucky, he moved his king, I would say I got lucky in different points of the game. This was actually considered the best move. This was considered an inaccuracy, even though I chose it because it's very forcing. I knew his next move had to be here. It lets me calculate these things out. Rook goes here, and now really his best move is this sorry move, bishop here. It really just delays the inevitable. But yeah, that's a really sad move to play from a human perspective. You'd rather just play it out and be like, let's see if you can checkmate me. And you can try this out as best you can on your own, but it's not really always super easy. It feels like the king always finds a way to slip away, and even though you have a better position, you're like, how am I not checkmating my king? You want to finish this out now, and I did find a way to finish this out now, uh, with the knight check, and this received my second brilliancy of the game. Um, which the reason it's so good is because if you don't take the knight, right, the king has to move here, and now you're just allowing this move. Boom. And you're kind of suffocating the king here. The queen can block, but... And if the queen doesn't block, it just... Yeah, you could even really go here. Because the rook controls the file. And if you do take the knight, which is what happened in the game, this queen stops guarding this square. And you'll see why that becomes important. The queen checks, forcing the king into this box. It's in the box. It's not coming out of the box. I promise you that. King in a box. The bishop checks. It's checkmated. The queen has to come. The queen takes death by diagonals. And that was my first win ever against a chess.com coach. This was the first game that ended, actually the second game that ended of the 4 games, but the first win, and really an explosive game. And I think really it just came down to my opponent having some inaccuracies in this phase of the game, but really it was not attacking when he needed to right here. He needed to play this knight check. He had to go for this. He couldn't settle for being defensive. He had to go on the offensive. And also, I think going for this move right here at the beginning is already just starting off on the wrong foot. He's fortunate. I had no idea this move existed. I didn't know if it was good or bad. It was the first time I'd ever seen it. So I treated it as if he knew what was doing, but I ended up getting a strong position, which yeah, it just could have been avoided with better opening prep. So, for this, I would say how to beat a chess.com coach. Really believing in your attack. I believed in what I was doing and what I was setting up. I think here was the moment where I think this move is fine for the most part. I should have just retreated the bishop. I think you need to cut your losses sometimes and realize, how am I supposed to attack a king when my pieces look like this? Like, if you look at my pieces, how am I supposed to attack the king like this? Why am I trying to attack the king? And yeah, this move is just pathetic. If I'm going to attack and I'm going into these crazy lines, I might as well go into them. I should not retreat and be a coward. This was just not how you want to play chess. He has 4 pieces ready to come in if he finds this knight check, and it's just embarrassing. But for the rest of the game, I thought I played pretty well, barring this rook h1 move. I thought the rest of them really shows what you need to think like. You really need to think of better ways to defend and attack. Really try and be creative and use ways to confuse your opponent. I thought this move is really exemplary of not falling for having to develop your knight and falling into some tricks and traps, and realizing that this knight is very much under attack here. The queen could be overworked, and finding a beautiful move to just exploit a weird place for the queen to be. The queen can't move here, 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 here. And it just really made it very clear where the direction of the game was going and allowed me to prepare and make moves that I liked and gave me opportunities to attack. And yeah, I think you really gotta think about what your position is and try and play what's best for it. and I'm glad I could show you this game. I thought it was a great game. And if you want to know the accuracies, I think I had 80%, and my opponent had like 65. It wasn't the cleanest game, but it was an interesting game nonetheless, and shows that chess.com coaches aren't invincible. You can beat them. I'm a 2000 rated player. Who knows? Maybe I could be a chess.com coach.